everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all safe and healthy. So in this video I wanted to do an updated version of how I style my hair to get those lovely beach waves. I did do one of these videos about a year ago I think, but I've changed the method of how I do it, so I thought it was about time to do an updated version. So first up this morning I have washed my hair using the Function of Beauty shampoo and conditioner. I've also got the Function of Beauty hair mask, which I do probably once a week, but I haven't done that this morning. So that is what I'm currently using. I haven't put any other product on my hair. Then I've just given it a blow dry using my GHD, I think this is called the Air hairdryer. And my favourite hairbrush in my collection would by far be this one that's looking a little bit tatty because it's ridiculously old. It came from Mason & Pearson and I think they do hands down the best hairbrushes out there. They're not cheap, but they're really, really good. So as I've mentioned before, my hair is naturally very wavy, but not in a pretty way, just in a big, fluffy, kind of humid hair way. So although I'm relatively good blow drying my own hair, I always need to tame at least this top layer. So I'm using GHD again. These are the original straighteners. I don't know about the new technology, whether you've got slightly different plates, but they're not broke, so I'm not going to try and fix it. It does seem a bit weird that if I'm going to curl or do a bit of a beach wave with my hair, I would start with straightening it. But if I don't do that, I end up with really flyaway pieces here, and my fringe will end up about halfway up my forehead because it just goes too curly. So it's mainly this top layer that I'll give a quick straighten over, just something like that, just going over those pieces. I try not to keep it on there for too long or do too much because that's when you'll damage your hair. Now this should be called the lockdown version of how to do your hair because I am definitely in the growing out stage of my fringe, or bangs as a lot of Americans call it. But I quite like the growing out stage almost better than when it's been cut into a fringe, because when it's clean and washed I can either really curl it under when I'm straightening it, which will give me more of a fringe, but I quite like it with a bit of a flick at the moment, and then I do a tiny bit on the bottom of my hair and I just curl it under slightly, which just seems to give a nicer edge to it. So that's all the hair prep sorted. Now onto curling my hair, and I use GHD again, and I'm using the wand, which is called the GHD Tri-Zone technology. The very nature of this shape gives you a really natural beach wave rather than anything looking too beauty queen-esque, which we don't want. Now obviously we've all been in lockdown, we can't leave our houses and certainly not go and see the hairdresser. So me included, looking at my roots thinking, oh my gosh Jessica, they look awful and I desperately need them doing. And particularly if you're blonde, any kind of home dye that you can buy from the supermarket tends to take you a little bit orange. Well, it has always done with me. So I really wouldn't recommend doing that. Just go with your roots, go au naturel for a few months or however much longer we're going to be in lockdown for. In actual fact, curling your hair is a really good way of hiding how bad your roots look if you're blonde. It does tend to mask it a bit. If you wear your hair bone straight, it's quite obvious where the line is of where you need your roots doing. So while that's heating up, I've got the little hair clip. I'm just going to pin up the top layer of my hair, but quite a good chunky section. Now I go to Toni & Guy hairdressers. I like the fact that wherever you go in the world, they are all trained the same, so you know what you're gonna get. And I was talking to my hairdresser just before lockdown, talking about styling it with the curls, and he said the most updated and sort of on-trend way to do the beach wave is to curl underneath quite heavily and gradually get less and less as you get to the top layer. You don't want those big springy curls coming out of the top because it will look really dated. So I start at the front, get my first section here, and roughly about halfway down the length of my hair, that's where I want the curl to start. If I start the curl up here, I'm going to end up looking like a beauty queen stroke poodle. So we don't want that. I want it really natural beach waves. So I'm going to start roughly where my jawline is because my hair's quite long at the moment. Has anyone been watching a series on the BBC called Normal People? A friend of mine on Instagram recommended it the other day and I had a little break from working and thought, oh, I'll just switch it on and have a little look. 3 episodes later, I'm still watching it. It is that good. I don't know if where you are in the world you can get BBC iPlayer, but if you can, I can highly recommend this series. So if you're short of something to watch at the moment, do try and hunt that one down. I have a feeling in America it's on a channel called Hulu, which is probably a really massive channel in America, but I just don't know it well. So taking another section, as you can see they're not massively thick, but this is the bottom layer, so I want this to be quite curly. Again, about halfway down my hair. I would say leave the wand on and in place for about 10 seconds. But if you can feel it getting slightly hotter, which it will do by the time you get to this side, maybe do, you know, 7-8 seconds. I look like a brunette at the back of my hair. It's been that long since I've had the colour done. I tend to mostly have half a head of highlights when I go, and very, very rarely have a full head, because I quite like that natural colour coming through from underneath. It ends up looking like a very subtle dip dye. Okay, so when you've roughly got halfway, then go to the other side, because you want to take the curl the other way, so backwards towards the wall. See, it often goes springier on this side. You can tell that the wand is getting hotter. So the other day I mentioned that I'm going to do a new Q&A video for you, and thank you to everybody who sent in a question. Some great ones in there, lots of stories to tell. If you haven't already sent a question in and there's something you'd like to know about me or get to know me a bit better, do let me know in the comment section below, and I shall answer as many of those as I can in that video. So as you can see, that bottom layer is nice and springy, but I'm not going to tussle it through just yet. I'm just going to leave them to cool down on their own and just take down another layer of hair. And all I'm going to do this time is keep the very, very top layer of my hair away. So it will be the bulk of my hair that I curl in this section. The top layer of your hair is the section that gets the most damage. So that is the part that you want the least amount of heat going on. Plus it's going to look a lot more of an on-trend version of the curls this way, but it will also protect your hair a little bit more as well. I forgot to add as well, before I blow dry my hair, I use the GHD Hair Protect spray, which just protects it a little bit from the heat. Okay, so we've got the big bouncy curls underneath. I'm going to do slightly less time on the next layer of my hair, just so the curls aren't quite as exaggerated. We've just got a slightly more gentle wave on this next bit. So maybe hold the curler in place for about 5 seconds on this section, and again from about halfway down. So I'm just going to do the same thing all the way around. Okay, so that whole bottom layer is now done. I'm now going to fix this top section, which hopefully hasn't got much of a kink in it. Now I've just taken that very top layer down, and in actual fact I don't really need too much more curling, just a couple of bits on the ends. If you've got layers in your hair, it would just be the slightly longer sections that I would just do a tiny bit of a curl with. Another series my husband is actually watching, which he says is really, really good, is Afterlife with Ricky Gervais, and I don't think I can watch it. I think it will make me too sad and I'll just start crying and not be able to stop, but he does highly recommend it. He said it's brilliant, so that would be another one to add to the list. You see how I've got quite a big swoop going on here? I don't really like it all looking quite like that, so I want to change the direction of one of those so it's coming the other way. So at this point, really, with this top layer, it's just a bit of changing direction, faffing about with it. A couple of ends just need curling. I just want some different heights going on, so just having a little play. I like my hair to be kind of like a messy beach wave, so you literally look like you've got curly hair naturally, you've been at the beach all day and it's just kind of fallen into that lovely beach wave. That's my favourite type of look, and to be honest with you, it gets that look much better the day after you've done it. When we are out of lockdown and we're going out for a nice dinner, I would highly recommend doing all your hair the day before, because the curls are so much nicer the following day. So then when I've curled all of my hair and it's all got some nice springy curls in it, I'll let it cool down and then just tussle it through with my fingers and just separate some of those curls so they look a bit more natural. You could put in, and I sometimes use the sea salt sprays. I think I got a really nice one from Bumble and Bumble. Do a really good one. I'll pop a link in the description below, but that gives you that beach wave look even more so. The downside of using those sprays is the following day your hair definitely needs washing. It looks quite greasy, but it does give a really nice look the day of. So if I was going somewhere, I would have done this the night before. The next morning when I wake up and the curls have dropped out a little bit, it's my favorite type of curl, that's the point that I might put a little bit of sea salt spray in there and just kind of do that with the hair with your fingers, and it just gives a really natural beach wave look. But just on a normal day-to-day basis, I don't tend to put any product in it other than the heat protect spray before I dry it, because I want it to last as long as possible. So just kind of messily teasing it through, either from underneath or over the top, and that's it. That's how I style my hair in beach waves for a really easy everyday kind of look. Do let me know in the comment section what you thought to this video. It's always lovely to hear from you, and hopefully that was a pretty easy tutorial to do your own beach waves at home. If you're not already subscribed to my channel on YouTube, I would really appreciate the support if if you would. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, and I've linked those accounts in the description box below. Have a wonderful week, and hopefully I shall see you back here on Sunday as I have a very exciting fashion video to share with you. Take care, and I shall see you then.